So thank you very much. Hello everyone. So my name is Sébastien Garrigues, and so working at ECMWF. And the presentation and this talk is about the use of an hybrid approach, an hybrid machine learning and data assimilation approach to advance the land data assimilation in the ECMWF Integrated Forecast System. And so up to now in the IFS, there is no analysis of the vegetation. So this work aims to contributing to a more coupled data assimilation between the carbon and the water cycle in the IFS by exploiting a new type of Earth observation. So I will give you some introduction and the background of this work. Then I will move on the methodology. And as Eulalie said, I think in her talk, so here the use of the machine learning is, as I said, is not to replace the assimilation system, but it's is to improve the exploitation of the observation, because one key aspect of the data assimilation is to have an observation operator. And sometimes we cannot assimilate some observation because we don't have the physical model to be able to interface the observation in the model. And so for this, there is a potential with machine learning. And then I will show you okay, this potential to assimilate the solar-induced fluorescence. And I will explain I will give you some results when we assimilate this type of, the SIF, so which is a solar-induced fluorescence, in the ECMWF land data assimilation system. And I will show you the impact on the GPP, which is a gross primary productivity forecast from the IFS. And I will finish with some conclusion. So this project, this work was conducted in the Corso EU-funded project. And the goal is to reduce the uncertainty in the gross primary production, GPP, which is the largest source of uncertainties in the global carbon budget. And something which is very important, we have to remind that 90% of the land carbon uptake is driven by the variability of soil moisture. So there is a need to develop a coupled water and carbon cycle land data assimilation system in the Earth system model, and here the IFS. And for this, we plan to assimilate a new type of interface observation, which are sensitive to both the water and the carbon cycle. And as I said in introduction, we leverage machine learning to design a simple and computationally efficient observation operator. And in this talk, I'm taking the example of the assimilation of the solar-induced fluorescence to analyze a key vegetation variable in the model, which is the leaf area index. And what is the SIF? So SIF, it's the emission of the electromagnetic radiation in the red and far red emitted by the chlorophyll A molecule under visible light. And we know that there is a strong correlation between the SIF and the GPP and also the leaf area index. So the observation operator, so as I said, one of the limitations is to have an accurate enough observation operator, and we know that physically based observation operator for this type of vegetation variable are associated with large uncertainties over land and are computationally expensive. So machine learning is an alternative because it relies on generic architectures that can be applied to different types of Earth observation. Machine learning are computationally more efficient, and in this way we can test, we can quickly implement and test the assimilation of a new type of observation. However, there are some challenges, and one of the key questions is, does the information content of the IFS model field convey sufficient information to simulate the SIF satellite signal? And also something very important here, we are not building an emulator of the satellite observation, but we are building an observation operator And one of the key property of an observation operator, it needs to have enough sensitivity to the input field that we want to update in the data simulation system. So in terms of methodology, so first I will present you the development of the machine learning-based observation operator that we will implement in the LDAS. And so LDAS is a land data simulation system. And so the observation operator will be used to predict the model counterpart of the SIF observation that we will compare to the actual SIF. To update the LIFARA index, and in the IFS for now, the background it's LAI climatology. And so once we have this updated LAI, we are using it in a coupled model, in the coupled IFS model, to predict carbon fluxes as GPP that we will evaluate against independent observation. And so at ECMWF, the land data simulation system rely on the use of an SEKF, so a simplified extended Kalman filter. And here the approach is to assimilate SIF to analyze LAI, which is a key driver of GPP. And in this work, this is done at 8-day temporal frequency and 0.1 degree spatial resolution. And one of the key assumptions that you have to keep in mind is that we assume that SIF is mainly driven by LAI for most vegetation types. So the background is the LAI climatology. The analysis is done once a day. And I mean, as I said, we are using a simplified extending Kalman filter. And I can give more information on this if people are interested. So now I will move on to the development of the machine learning observation operator. So we built a specific training database, which consists of the IFS model fields, and also the Copernicus CGLS satellite LAI. So the target is the SIF derived from Tropomi instrument on board the Sentinel-5P. And we are using the TropoSIF dataset from the European Space Agency. So the resolution already mentioned, it's 0.1 degree, 8-day temporal frequency. And something important, we apply a stringent quality control and filtering on the observation. In terms of machine learning model, we are using a very simple model. It's an XGBoost gradient boosted trees. So we tune the model over 1 year in 2021. The training is performed over 2 years. And we kept 1 year for the test in 2022. So in terms of the feature selection, so for this we use our process-based knowledge of the SIF drivers at the canopy scale. So you just have to remind. I mean, here the main take-home message is that the SIF is driven by the canopy structure represented by LAI, and also the vegetation physiology represented by GPP. And it's regulated by different environmental factors, soil moisture, 2-meter temperature, and humidity, solar radiation. And also we need to have information on the vegetation characteristics. And as you see on the right part of the slide, the main predictor of SIF are the solar radiation and LAI. But in this work, we tested 2 approaches in terms of machine learning observation operator. So the first one, as I detailed before, which is called MIFS field, is trained on IFS physical field as predictor. And we use a completely different approach, which is called MSAT LAI, which is trained using only the satellite LAI observation, plus spatial and temporal coordinates. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, so this is scatter plot between predicted and observed SIF. And we obtain better performances for the model, which is trained on satellite LAI. So in terms of evaluation, Here I represent on the left part, so the temporal root mean square error between the prediction and the observation of SIF for both configuration of the machine learning observation operator. So at the top, MIFS feed, and at the bottom, MSAT LAI. So as you can see, both models are able to reproduce the temporal evolution of SIF, but we have a lower, the RMSE is lower with the model trained on the satellite LAI. And on the right part of the slide, this is a seasonal evolution of SIF by comparing the satellite, which is in blue, and the model trained on the IFS feeds in orange, and in red, the model trained on satellite LAI. And again, the best performances are reached by the model which is trained on satellite LAI, which is able to better reproduce the seasonal evolution of the SIF signal. So now I will move on to the result on the assimilation of SIF in the ECMWF offline land data assimilation system. So here I represent so key diagnostic of the SEKF, so the Jacobian, the SIF innovation, and the increment. In both in two experiments, one at the top of the top of the figure is a diagnostic obtained when we use the machine learning, the SIF machine learning observation operator trained on the IFS feeds, and at the bottom it's the one trained on the satellite LAI. And here the take-home message is that the impact of the machine learning model configuration is that we obtain different sensitivity to LAI, as shown by the global map of Jacobian, which results in distinct spatial and temporal distribution of the LAI increment. So the choice of the predictors has a great influence on the LAI increment that we obtain. And this is the same diagnostic, but this is a zoom over North America and over Europe. So again, here, so we have different sensitivity to LAI depending on the machine learning model configuration. And for example, if we take, if we focus only on the bottom part of the slide, so over Europe, you can see that using the machine learning model trained on the IFS predictor results in systematic positive increment due to the lack of interannual LAI variation in the IFS. And but when we are using the satellite LAI as a predictor, we obtain more meaningful LAI increment in response to climate anomalies. And here, for example, there is a reduction on the west part of Europe of LAI, which is consistent with the summer 2022 draft over Europe. And but the key question that we can ask is, okay, now we have increment in LAI, but what is the accuracy? Are we going to the good direction? And so for this, we use the satellite LAI as a benchmark, and so we computed the root mean square error, the LAI root mean square error with versus without the SIF data simulation. And so in blue, this means an improvement for LAI, and in red, a degradation. And on the left part of the slide, I represent a global map for the two different configurations. But the main okay, and when you look at the global map, the take-home message is that the model trained on the satellite LAI leads to the most accurate LAI compared to the satellite benchmark. And on the right part of the slide, it's a zoom over three different regions. And here we have a good improvement over Copland. So the use of the machine learning trained on the satellite LAI is able to capture the strong statistical correlation between the SIF and the LAI for Copland. But we obtain, as you can see on the global map, larger degradation over rainforest because the machine learning model is not able to represent the light use efficiency variability, which is the most influent variable for this type of vegetation. I am okay with time, or?
Still have 2 minutes and a half.
Okay, and you can hear me well? Yeah, because I have low connection, so is it okay?
I can. No problem.
Okay, thank you. So I just have this is almost done. I have 2 more slides. So as I said at the beginning, the main objective is to improve the simulation of the GPP. So here, as I said, once we have our updated LAI from the land data simulation system, we use this updated LAI in IFS forecast in a couple mode. And here, this is the representation of the impact on GPP. And to evaluate the accuracy of the GPP, we use a benchmark, which is based on a satellite product. And again, in blue, it means an improvement, and in red, a degradation. And here, the take-home message that in terms of, we don't obtain the same level of improvement as for LAI for GPP. And we think that it's because in the couple model, there are interaction with other sources of bias that can interact with the improvement of LAI. So we don't see the expected improvement. I mean, we see it, but in some part, but not everywhere. And now I will finish with my last slide about conclusion and lesson learned. So as I show, the SIF machine learning observation operator provide better performances when the model is trained on satellite LAI. By assimilating the SIF in the land data simulation system, we produce a meaningful LAI increment, especially when we use the model trained on satellite LAI. Also, we show that there is an impact on the sensitivity to LAI depending on the set of predictors which are selected for the machine learning. In terms of impact on LAI and GPP, so the take-home message here, the key finding of this work, it's the assimilation of SIF improves LAI over cropland, which is promising for the monitoring of anthropogenic CO2 emission. And we obtained a limited improvement for GPP. And here with this presentation, I would like to highlight that the potential of the assimilation of satellite SIF in an NWP framework, which is the first time at global scale, to provide a more realistic representation of the vegetation temporal dynamic. The main limitation is the SIF model at a 0.1 degree resolution and 8-day temporal frequency resolve mainly the LAI seasonal variability. So maybe further work are needed to better resolve over drivers such as vegetation physiology and to represent the impact of stresses on the photosynthesis. And here, this is an example of the benefit of machine learning in an hybrid machine learning data simulation framework to test the assimilation of new type of observation. And I would like to thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Sébastien, for the very nice and interesting talk about building the machine learning model for the observation operator. So for the audience, in case you have any questions for the speaker, please write your question in your pod. So yeah, now I can see already one question at your pod from Anna. So Anna's question is about how large is the uncertainty in your global estimate so of the unobserved area compared to those affected by the assimilation. So how you compare the error from the observed area and the unobserved area?
So I'm not sure if this concerns the prediction of SIF or LAI.
I think the question is in general. So if you compare like the spatially observed area and non-observed area, so if you compare the error after data assimilation.
Okay, yes. So this is after data assimilation. This is yes, this is the result over an over an observed area. I don't know. Maybe we need to mask. I'm not sure that where we have improvement. I'm not sure if. Yes, I think actually it's a good question, but I don't have the answer here. What I think it's, I mean, it's, one is the model is trained with a satellite area. We show that we have good generalization performances of the model. So I'm quite confident that even on observed area, we reach the same level of accuracy compared to observed area. But it's a good question. I need to quantify this.
Okay, thanks, Sébastien. So you mean it has a good capability of diffuse the assimilation results to the even unobserved area, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. At the same time, actually, myself have a couple of questions. So maybe I'll start with a quite naive one. So here you use the XGBoost. Why not use neural network? So we know, for example, neural network can be more flexible in terms of the input features. Well, usually for the tree-based method like XGBoost, the input of the features, I mean, the number of input features, they're usually fixed. So maybe it's a little bit less flexible compared to neural networks.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. Actually, I implemented both. I mean, I developed a model also with neural network and XGBoost. And I kept XGBoost for this example of SIF because of its easy implementation because here we are using an LDAS offline, so it's quite explanatory. But I'm doing the same work with another satellite observation, which is ASCAT backscatter normalized at 40 degrees. And for this, I'm using a neural network, a feed-forward neural network that I implemented in the IFS. Yes, it's a good question. We have the same level of performances here. It was just because we started with XGBoost, so in terms of demonstration, it was easier to keep going with an XGBoost. But yes, I agree that feed-forward neural network and maybe it's in terms of sensitivity, maybe it's yes, I think maybe in terms of sensitivity to LAI, it's a bit better than the XGBoost.
Okay, thank you, Sébastien. And also I have a question regarding the observation error or the observation uncertainty. So if I understand correctly, that these machine learning based observation operator, they're learned directly from the raw data, right?
Yes.
So, do you do anything specific to handle the observation error when you build the supervised neural network? I mean, supervised machine learning to learn the observation operator?
So are you talking about the observation error that I use in the data assimilation?
No, I mean when you build
when I built the machine learning model, no, I didn't. Yes, this is also a good point. We can improve the design of the machine learning model, and one of the key points it will be to take into account the observation error. Because SIF is not a direct measurement, it's also derived from it's a product, it's a retrieval, so it's not yes, it's not it's not as accurate as a direct measurement from the satellite. So I think it would be good to use maybe yes, some Bayesian approach to account for this in the development of the machine learning observation pattern.
Okay. Okay, then thank you, Sébastien, for the very nice talk.